Story time. Who am I? Or more importantly, I should say, who was I and how did we get here today? I want to give you a little background on myself. For those that don't know me, I'm Chris McGeady, the owner of Close Smarter Academy. But I wasn't always, right? What did I do before owning a business, starting entrepreneurship? I was a firefighter for just about 20 years. I want to say it was like 18 or 19 years. A large portion of that as a captain. I loved what I did. It was a great career. And as that was coming to an end, my wife and I were trying to decide, like, what do you do after that? Because I'm still fairly young, right? And there it is. There's my proof. Still fairly young. You just can't sit there for the next 40 years and do nothing. And my wife, and those of you that know her, Mel, said that she had always had an interest in real estate, specifically the investing side. What does it look like to flip? We didn't really know what wholesaling was at the time. Maybe we've heard it in different terms. I think when they used to do the infomercials at like 2 a.m, they called it something else. But nonetheless, she still had some paperwork from something from high school or right after high school that she went to some event and learned some stuff. So we dabbled for a little bit, and it caught my interest. I forget when. I think we had a deal we were trying to do, and this was like old school stuff, right? So you got the index cards, and you were putting ads in the newspaper. Anybody that's a lot younger than me has no idea what I'm talking about right now, but that's how you used to do it back then. But anyway, long story short, we made one of those deals work up until the point where we had to pull the trigger and buy it. Put a deposit on a house, and I forget how it went through. I think we did the whole newspaper ad thing and the index cards, but I have a feeling this one was, and Mel will probably confirm in the comments here, I think this one we actually found on the MLS. Made an offer on it, put a deposit down, and when it came time to pull the trigger to buy, we left our deposit, lost that, and we were too scared to do it for whatever reason. And it took some time, but we never stopped being interested in it. And then one day we found the Bigger Pockets group and put a post in there after watching HGTV. I think it was the Flip or Flop when they were fairly new. It had said on one of the episodes that they were purchasing this flip from a wholesaler on the bottom of the screen. We didn't know what that was, so we said, let's put a post in there and ask if anybody does this locally, which we found somebody that's like, yeah, we do this locally. And we kind of latched onto them, met for lunch, and then the story took off from there. We were 1,000% interested after this meeting, and we wanted to get into it ourselves. So I was nearing the end of my career, excuse me, in the firehouse, and started studying, watching videos, reading books, just diving all in on real estate. And we that's where we started our real estate company, C&M Housing Solutions. We did that about 8 or 9 years ago. We started at the tail end of 2016 into 2017. And we started with a wholesale. And then we started with a flip. And I think we did 2 the first year. And then we said, you know what, let's turn this into a business. We want to get serious about it. So we started studying business and how do you create a business from scratch? How do you build a team? How do you do these things rather than just do like a one-off? We didn't want it to be a hobby anymore. We wanted to create a business. So we did. Fast forward a couple of years, we had a pretty good flipping company going. We were doing, I don't know, 20 or so flips a year. Contractors that we built up, private money that we had built up. But all in all through that whole process, there's things that you're going to like and there's things that you're not going to like. And in my case, well, I won't go there yet. In Mel's case, she really loved the project management side of it. So it worked out perfectly for us because there were so many different moving parts to a real estate business, or to business in general, but in our case, real estate, where we separated it almost completely in half, 50-50. There was a sales and marketing side, and then there was a project management and budgeting and bills side, let's call it, because of like overhead with subscriptions and stuff like that come into play when it comes into budgeting. So we separated those. She took care of the project management side, and I took care of the sales and marketing side. And really developed a love and a passion for that. So it didn't matter what we were doing in the business, the sales and the marketing, not really the marketing too much per se, but the sales for sure. Loved meeting with sellers, loved meeting them at their house, and like walking that journey with them. Let's see what the problem is. Why are you selling? How do we solve this for you? If we have a solution in place that works for all of us, like what does that look like moving forward? How do we get there? And throughout that journey, it's just every single time I did that, I would study more. I would listen back to my calls. I would get better at it every single day, and really found a love for it. And that's how we ended up here today, because we haven't stopped flipping. We'll still buy flips and things like that, but we're not running a full-time flipping company anymore. I really took the part that I loved, yanked that out of the business, and that's why I created this. Because in the interim, even while we still had the real estate business, people would reach out because we were known to have the good sales side of things locally too, and we would do some meetup, presentations and things like that, and just your normal networking. Anybody that has a business or is in a business knows what that's all about. Would reach out for sales help, and I've helped two, maybe three investment companies now. If not build their sales team, then at least take the existing sales team and make them better. And I really, really got some great satisfaction out of that. Like, I like getting better at things myself, especially when I'm passionate about it and dive in. But even more so, I think I like helping people that are struggling with something and watching them bridge that gap. Just like you would with a client or a customer on a sales call, watching light bulbs go off, and you're like, that's what I'm missing. It could be something small. It could be a couple of small things that add up to something big. But once they bridge that gap, there's really no feeling like it. So I realized that this is a path that I want to dive in 1,000,000% and help whoever I can. So that's a little background of where I was and kind of how we got here today, and really excited about where this is going to go.